Purse Strings offers an available for hire network of vetted professionals who specialize in serving women. When you have a life event that has suddenly made money a priority, you can now move forward with a whole new confidence that you're getting advice and services from savvy professionals who are uniquely equipped to serve your needs. Go to pursestrings.co and use our directory of handpicked financial professionals when you're ready to plan for retirement, navigate divorce, buy your next home, fire up your new business, and more. Go to pursestrings.co or check the link in the show notes. Now you can be financially fearless.
Thank you, fearless listeners, and go you for hitting play. Please like and subscribe as it helps us grow. Also, share this with a friend as we have to keep talking about this shit. Now let's dive in.
Coming up on today's edition of Women and Money, the shit we don't talk about, our guest is Amy Salo.
Amy is a managing partner at Forest Hills Financial Group, and she is one of our Purse Strings approved professionals.
We're eager to talk with Amy today about getting more women into the financial industry. Today, only 17% of financial advisors or planners are women, yet it's a terrific opportunity for women, and Amy will share why.
Amy's vision is to propel economic mobility in our communities through our culture that attracts, develops, and retains advisors, staff, and agency leadership who believes that as an industry, we can do better.
So let's get started.
Gloria Steinem once said, "We will never solve the feminization of power until we solve the masculinity of wealth." Barbara Provost and Maggie Nielsen are the team at Purse Strings that will help you navigate the ins and outs of financial independence so that you can be financially fearless. This is Women in Money, the shit we don't talk about.
Hello, Amy. We are so excited to have you on today. We talk a lot at Purse Strings about how the financial industry is very much a male-dominated industry. It was kind of an industry built by men, for men, to sell to men. But women are the most powerful market on the planet, and we want to dig into why. This is a great time for women to join the industry. But before we do, could you share a bit about yourself?
Sure, thanks. It's so nice to be here with both of you. I'm thrilled to be with Purse Strings and speaking about this. It's so important to me, and I think important to our entire profession. I came into this business with a music background, actually. I have 2 degrees in trombone performance. So as you can imagine...
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't know that.
Right. Yeah. As you can imagine, when I walked in the room the first day, nothing looked quite right to me, and I didn't look quite right to anyone else. So I'm used to being on the outside, looking in and passionate about changing the view for so many women in this profession.
That's awesome. Yeah. You know, it's interesting. Sometimes I find that musicians are so good with numbers that they're good in finance. It's an interesting comparison. But anyway, with that, you know, Amy, previously you shared with us that you were in Asia and that you saw 70% of their advisors and leaders are business women, yet here in the US, we can't get past 15%. So can you share with us your experience and observation there, and why do you think it's so different for us?
Yeah, I mean, it was really an incredible experience, one of those sort of life-changing moments and opportunities. And I'm so grateful to Finseca and Gamma Global for the opportunity to go and speak. I knew this statistic. I knew that there were so many more women advisors in Asia. That's entirely different from standing on a stage and looking out at a sea of women.
Wow.
That was just really something else. And I think at the end of the day, that is the biggest thing, right? Is if we're asking people to introduce us to individuals who may be interested in learning about this career, if predominantly the people asking are men, it's natural for the people listening to think, oh, you want us to introduce you to someone like you. Right. And so I think there's a tipping point of some sort that we have to get beyond. We have to be very intentional about asking for women who are interested in being in this profession and talking about what it's like to be in this profession as a woman. And I do think that when we look out into the audience and we see a more balanced crowd, it will start to shift much more quickly.
Wow, that would just it would give me goosebumps to look out and look at financial professionals that are 70% women, because that is not what we see at all today. But tell us why, Amy, this is such a great time for women to join financial services.
Well, as you mentioned, we are more than 50% female in this country. And at the end of the day, I think that there is an advisor for everyone. It's natural for people to want to work with people who are like them. So if we have trillions of dollars of wealth transitioning into the hands of women, we are just looking for consumer choice, right? There are some women who would prefer to work with a male advisor and men who would prefer to work with a female advisor. But at the end of the day, if we are not representative of our population, we're just missing an enormous opportunity. So the first real reason this is a great opportunity is there just aren't enough of us in the business, right? So there's a much better opportunity, I think, for women to attract clients who haven't chosen to work with someone in the past or haven't felt that right fit or right match with their advisor. So that's one thing. And then I also think that as women, we really truly are natural advocates for other people. And our profession, in the advent of all of the information overload that we have, AI, the ability to search for anything you want, we're no longer as advisors really just purely providers of information. We're providers of advice. Mm-hmm. And to be able to be a natural advocate for someone else, and maybe even for the next generations that aren't in the room as a part of that planning process, is a skill that I think many women come by very, very naturally. So I think there's really, the marketplace has shifted and it's demanding of advisors many more of the skills that we naturally as women gravitate to.
Going back to your first point about how, we kind of want to work with people like us, it's so interesting when I talk to so many men and they're like, don't women just want to work with women? And I'm like, well, if that was the case, let's say that's true, and men only want to work with men, of course women have not been served by the financial industry because there's not enough women professionals out there. So it was just kind of like men helping men. And I was like, it's not always the case like that, but it's just interesting to see when they always mention that. And I'm like, that's why we need more women in here to really then serve everybody out there.
Yeah, and I would add to that women have been so overlooked because it's such a male-dominated profession, and women tell us all the time that their financial professional doesn't even look at them when they're in the room with their husband, their male husband. So it's so disappointing to hear that these women were giving money to people who were not even engaged in or asking about what these women needed. And women are going to age alone. So those financial decisions are going to impact her more than him for the most part. And as you said, Amy, women have, empathy, excellent listening skills. They're all about wanting to help one another and engage and ensure that people are well taken care of. So these natural skill sets lend so much to what a great financial professional can do for women.
Absolutely. And I think, even beyond all of that, if you just think about casual conversations that are happening, if you're in a group of men, there's a high probability that someone in that group is in some sort of a financial field. And so the conversations that you're having just casually over whatever barbecue or round of golf or whatever it is you're doing are going to provide information and knowledge and an exchange of ideas in that group. Whereas for women, if there are really only 15% of the 15 to 17% of the profession are female, it's much less likely that in our casual conversations, we're going to be exposed to the same information, the same idea sharing, the same comfort around money, right? So it just needs to kind of infiltrate our society as women much more than it has to date.
Yeah, I think about, there's always the term like, oh, they're like a finance bro, but there's no term like that for women because it's usually all bros who are kind of in that financial realm. And so, if women are kind of thinking about going into financial services, I know a lot of people are almost intimidated by like, I don't know, numbers or stocks or, different things like that. So like, what are the actual skills needed to go into this profession? Like, do you need two degrees in trombone? Is that how you got to where you are?
apparently that works fine. I'll tell you first what's not needed, right? It is not necessary that you're a super technical person. It's not necessary that you have a high finance background. The reality is that change happens so fast in our profession that it's really more essential that people are lifelong learners, and willing to continually learn the skills and where to find the resources that are needed for their clients. The other thing that's interesting is when you start in this business, you may not really know who is going to gravitate directly to you as an advisor. So it may not even be possible to know what specific areas of expertise you need. I would say you also don't need a killer instinct. It is not a profession of only super outgoing, boisterous, salesy people. That is, I think, what our consumers do not want anymore. The skills you do need are the ability to build relationships. The biggest value add an advisor can bring to any firm is the ability to build relationships and attract clients to them, to the firm, and to their style of advice. They have to be able to listen. It's essential for someone to decide to trust you with their wealth. It's essential that you're able to listen and empathize and understand who they are as a person and what is most important to them, because it may be that carrying out some of the plans that they put in place will have to be done after they're gone, right? So that relationship is so critical. You're really meeting an individual or a family and taking them on a journey from where they are today to where it's possible for them to be with your help. It's truly that as advisors, we have to bring additional value in that relationship, or our consumers don't need us, right? So those relationship skills are the critical things. And of course, an ability to learn, right? Because there are complexities and there's a lot of designations and advanced specialties that you can get into, but the relationship piece is the most critical to start.
Which is something that you can't just study for, or, you have or you don't, which I think women carry a lot. And everything else you can just kind of learn. And it doesn't all need to be done at once. I see all these people with all these certificates, but they've got those over 25 years. It's not like I need to go get 8 certificates by the end of this year or something like that. And so it is that lifelong learning, perfecting, kind of finding your niche market, getting more education about what they're needing, and kind of honing your skills to then what your clients need.
Well, and being interested in it. Let's not forget, right? Because I've had clients sit down with me, and after a long meeting where I feel like, so good, we've accomplished so much, and the client goes, wow, this is so painful, I can't believe you do this every day. so obviously it has to be something that makes you feel great, and really the only way to figure that out is to give it a stab.
Definitely.
So Amy, can you explain for our listeners, like, how do financial professionals earn money?
Sure. I love this question. The first thing to know is that if you ask any seasoned advisor if they would give up their compensation model for a salary and a 9-to-5 job, they will laugh, right? So this is a wonderful, wonderful profession. It allows flexibility and freedom, and it allows people to build a business, which, like any business, gives you the ability to earn based on how much you put in, right? And how successful you are in what you do. So that model is essential for the best advisors to thrive and to want to be in this business. Like anything, we have to have a competitive compensation model to attract people to the business and to attract the kind of people that you would want as your advisors to this business. So it starts with understanding where you want to get. People do have to get licenses. I happen to have a lot of licenses. I also happen to have a lot of designations. I think that these things help people specialize and find their niche. But we look at it like if you had 10 people in a job and they were all paid the same salary, statistically, 2 of them are doing all of the work, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately so.
Right? In most careers. So what you're choosing in this career is to have uncertainty at the beginning, around your income, right? You're taking a little bit of a risk now to see if you can build, to see if you like the business, to see what kind of success you can find. And that is in comparison to a salaried job in a corporate environment where you have much less flexibility, and maybe you don't have any risk right now about your earnings level or where things are going to go. But as you become more seasoned, you actually have a great deal of risk because you're a senior person at a high salary. And if you lose that job or decide to make a change, you may be giving up a great deal. So this business is really, there is uncertainty around your income in the beginning, right? Your earnings are going to be based on your results, which can be commissions, they can be fees, they can be in many different forms, right? I'm a very strong proponent of consumer choice, right? So we should be able to offer to our clients the solutions that work for them, and we should be able to explain to our clients how we're paid for helping them implement those solutions. But that it's like a hybrid role, right? Where you're building a business, but you're not making an enormous investment other than time and education at the beginning. And you're not really in business by yourself, right? It's a very regulated, very structured profession. So it's like building a business for yourself, we say, but not by yourself.
And what I also love about the industry is for women, particularly, it can provide the flexibility you need if you're working with the right organization. Would you agree with that?
I would. I mean, I still think that we have a bit of a ways to go overall in the profession. As we have more women in the business, I think we will find more organizations will change and adapt. But when I was in Asia, I asked them why there were so many women in the business, and it was a very consistent answer. They said, because I can still build an incredible career and I don't have to choose between my family and my career. I can structure my work day to work in the times that allow me to still do the things that are important to me. I interviewed a woman a few weeks ago who had a child with some special needs, and well, they weren't severe. It was very important to that mom to be there for the bus in the morning and afternoon. That was just important. And, in my mind, it's completely insane to suggest that someone can't be professionally successful because there's a 15-minute window of time that they can't be at their desk, right?
Right. I know, right?
So I think we do offer that flexibility. And for those people in our profession who don't, it's time to change.
Yeah,
Amen.
100%. And I talked to, some older now professionals who have really built their book and have kind of their business structure, and it's pretty relaxed after that point. I mean, it's maintenance of these clients. You might bring on a new client, but, you can really hold that book for a while and kind of, wait on retirement, because it's not like you also are working 9 to 5 every single day, day in, day out. It's a much more of like maintenance after that point. So it seems like, you don't need to retire all the way. You love meeting with these clients. And so then it's just a much easier kind of transition in life, and you're still making a wonderful income.
Yeah, it's actually funny. As I've gotten further into my career, we have more and more advisors approaching retirement. And I'll tell you, it's actually very hard for a financial advisor to retire, because if you think about it, all of your clients are retiring right when you should be retiring, and they all need your help more than ever before. So,
That's
it is
funny.
important, to think early as an advisor about teaming. And about building that flexibility for yourself, because I've found that while financially you may be able to retire, it's very difficult. If you love what you do and you care for your clients, it's very difficult to leave them on their own.
But also it makes for a good case for women to get into the industry, like you said, and partner, because with the swell of the baby boomers aging, right? 10,000 people every day are turning 65, which means there's a lot of retirement happening over the next 7 years. And that includes financial advisors, right? So they're going to be retiring and aging out, a good opportunity to maybe partner, buy a book, become a partner in an agency or something like that, and take on that work. But also as you said, so much money is going to be transferred into the hands of women, right? And women, if they want to work with female advisors, might be looking for more women. I think there's going to be so many kind of super cool transitions and things happening in the next couple of years. Well, with all of this in play, and I can't imagine a better time for women to get into the industry.
Absolutely. And also, let's not forget about all of these women who have slogged it out in these corporate jobs for all of these years.
Yeah.
And they're out of their corporate job, and maybe they're not, I mean, I don't know if people are really going to retire in the traditional sense as much as they used to. I think people are looking for their next chapter more so than looking for a true retirement, right? In the traditional sense. So those women are incredibly well suited for our profession also as a next chapter, as their career transition into something new, the ability to make a difference, to work with people they know and care about, and to be involved.
I know so many different female practices right now who are still also looking for like to bring more women into the industry, into their business specifically. But then they're like, I also need my legacy plan. I need to pass this book down in about 10 years. So I want to onboard you and get you going. And yeah, it just seems like a wonderful opportunity. And it's just so great seeing these women who have kind of did the whole man's world, then made their own business. And then they're like, I'm dying to have you come in and support you. Like I would love that. I'd be honored, which is amazing because sometimes you're like, who would want me who doesn't have any expertise in this area? It's kind of new for me. And they're like, yes, please come on in and we're happy to help. Here are some clients, which is always great. And so I know, I mean, there are opportunities just talking to other professionals that are looking to get more women into financial services industry. But what are some of like the next steps, or how does it work to kind of get started?
I think one of the most important things you can do to start is find a mentor. As a woman, I think it is still a male-dominated profession. And I actually have a dear friend of mine who he said one day, he was sort of half joking, but it really resonated with me. He said, "Have you noticed that many of the men who join this profession have more confidence than ability, and many of the women have more ability than confidence?"
It's true for many things.
Yeah. So I think for women interested in this profession, you have to protect your confidence. And that may mean you need a mentor, or it may mean if you can't find a female mentor in this profession, that at least you have someone close to you who is strong and confident, who can help you find your way, because it may look a little different than it does for the people around you until we hit this tipping point, right? Until we get much closer to 50%. You have to find a firm who will help support your growth as you get started. There are many different paths in this business. They are all great. But to get started, I would say you need to be somewhere where you will have a mentor. Think about it like a medical residency, right? Like, Barb, if you decided today that you wanted to be a neurosurgeon, you wouldn't show up and be like, oh, give me the scalpel, let's see what happens, right?
Right.
They would say, hey, you've done your basic training. Why don't you stand here and hand me the scalpel, right? And let's watch for a bit. And so I think that is one of the greatest ways to come into the business, and that would be my best recommendation.
So what about the other thing is licensing? Like how do people approach that? Do they just work with an organization first before they figure out what licensing they need, or do they need to go in with licenses? What do you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, every firm is different, so I would suggest asking, where you go. But I personally am a very strong proponent of being fully licensed, meaning that whoever you end up working with, you have the licenses and the capability to help them with all their financial planning needs. Clients shouldn't have to pick someone by the products they have, right? Mm-hmm. So in our firm, we start with a state insurance license. Those licenses are reciprocal for all of the states. So it's really pretty simple. It's not that fun, but it's also not that hard. Most of what you will learn in your firm, not in the licensing course. But that's the first step. And then the securities licenses that you can get. For us, we do the SIE, we do the 7, and we do the 66. Those are going to take a little longer. They're a little more comprehensive, but the good news is that if you're in a firm with a mentor, you're going to be able to see that business, how it works, and you're going to be able to learn a lot on the job while you're studying, so that by the time you have those licenses, you have more than just the license, but also some experience. And then finally, the designations. I think as you determine who your client base is, there are some really wonderful designations and wonderful institutions that offer programs so that you can specialize in specific marketplaces or specific types of solutions as you discover who your client base is ultimately going to be.
So it sounds like when you're looking to get into the profession, you really want to find the right organization that's going to help maybe with a program to bring you along the career track and the stepping stones needed to really build your knowledge, your skill, your designations, certifications, and all.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a path. There should be a path for you. And, you have to have the ability to see a little bit of a longer view than maybe is comfortable for some people, right? If you can look at a track put in front of you and you can say, all right, if I put my head down and I commit to this and I work hard, then there's a good chance that a year from now I'll have a career I love, and things will be on an upward trajectory. But if you're really worried about next week or next month's bills, it's going to be a very difficult career for you to come into. So it's good to be prepared. Just think about how you would need to be prepared if you were going to start a business. And I think it's maybe halfway between I can't do that ever and I'm all the way ready to invest in a business. Somewhere in the middle of that puts people in a sweet spot where they have the ability to grow and build and focus on the long term, and really focus on their skills.
And I like how you put that because, to buy a business, you need hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? To get a Subway, let's say, or even to start your own business, or if you're buying something that's, brick and mortar, or you need an SBA loan or something. This is none of that. This is your own business where you're really dedicating some time and energy and investing that for a pretty significant financial future.
And I just love that, it's not like college where you have to go for 4 years and really study, and then you kind of look for a job or look to get into that area, where it's like you're doing some studying, but you're also having boots on the ground, seeing what the day is actually like, getting into the business, and just kind of doing those certificates over time or those designations over time. It's not like you have to get all of this done before you even jump in and see if you like it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the other thing is, if you think about starting a business, you may know a handful of people who have started businesses, and those businesses may have one or two similarities with what you're aiming to start. And you have that probably fairly significant investment. In our business, we have done this thousands of times, right? We do know how to build very successful financial advisors. And it is a path that, if it's appealing to you, and if it's interesting, and if it's something that you think will be fulfilling in your life, and you can just take that slight long view, right, and commit to learning the skills you need to learn and to building the relationships you need to build, it's really something that is very, very achievable.
I love it. I think this has been a great conversation, just kind of showing how it is a great option for women to have that flexibility, to earn a great income, and all these different things. And I know you, before we jumped on, you shared that you're kind of doing a weekly kind of session about getting into the industry and kind of what the career is like. Is that correct?
Sure. So I'm just starting. It's Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and you can find me on LinkedIn. And I guess we'll try to put a link in the notes here for the podcast. But I think it's about more women having the confidence to take the lead in this business, and so I want to make myself available for people to join that webinar weekly, Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, and learn a little bit more about the career, ask questions, find the resources they need to take the first step. And I hope it will help move the needle.
Yeah, that sounds great. Sometimes you hear this podcast and just once is not enough. You have some more questions. You want to kind of continue the conversation. So I think that would be, a great thing for people to kind of join in, participate if this, is of any interest, and, an option on the table.
Any other parting thoughts you want to share with our listeners today?
I just think this is a great program. I want to thank both of you for having me on. I think it's tremendous to get this information out there as much as we possibly can. And I would encourage people to be, ask questions, read, listen, explore, right? There are a lot of ways to help yourself become more comfortable, whether it's in a career in finance or just in general with finance, and to find women who are passionate about it and can, look you in the eye and speak to you the way you want to be spoken to about this career. So I encourage you all to just take a step in one direction or another, whether it's to find a financial professional or to learn about the career. And it's really a great empowered place for us to be as women.
Definitely. 100% agree. Well, we thank you, Amy, for coming on today. And any of our listeners, if you're interested about getting into the financial industry, you could reach out to Amy. You could reach out to Purse Strings. We have a ton of professionals if you're ever looking for someone just to talk to and get a little bit more information. So yeah, jump into the conversation. Like and subscribe, as that always helps us and our podcast grow. And tune in again soon, as we will be back. Talk to you later.
Information is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute tax, investment, or legal advice. Always consult with a qualified investment, legal, or tax professional before taking any action.
This podcast is for informational purposes only. Guest speakers and their firms are not affiliated with or endorsed by PAS or Guardian, and opinions stated are their own. Registered representative and financial advisor of Park Avenue Securities, LLC, PAS. OSJ 200 Broad Hollow Road, Suite 405, Melville, New York, 11747. 631-589-5400. Securities products and advisory services offered through PAS, member FINRA SIPC. Financial representative of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, Guardian. New York, New York. PAS is a wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Forest Hills Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of PAS or Guardian. California Insurance License Number 0L64608, 2023 159059. Expiration August 2025.
Purse Strings offers an available for hire network of vetted professionals who specialize in serving women. When you have a life event that has suddenly made money a priority, you can now move forward with a whole new confidence that you're getting advice and services from savvy professionals who are uniquely equipped to serve your needs. Go to pursestrings.co and use our directory of handpicked financial professionals when you're ready to plan for retirement, navigate divorce, buy your next home, fire up your new business, and more. Go to pursestrings.co or check the link in the show notes. Now you can be financially fearless.